All this frontage just has a sidewalk. It starts here and it ends here, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Tacoma used to have a bustling recycling program, and it simply had to be discontinued.
It can contaminate my whole shelter and cause all my animals to get sick.
We have a pretty big, there's nothing back there. It's like an empty ditch, and then it is very full sometimes.
This year we got close to 1.85 tons, which is about 4,000 pounds of trash and recycling.
Hello, and welcome to Groundwork, Stories of Sustainability in Northeast Georgia. We're your hosts. I'm Zoe Streeter.
And I'm Jill Ward.
Northeast Georgia is home to a wide variety of communities who have a wide variety of needs.
Athens houses the flagship state university, while the surrounding counties are largely rural and industrial. Our reporters went out to 5 counties in Northeast Georgia to hear from residents themselves and about what these counties need.
What they found is a wide variety of concerns across the region. Whether it's animal contamination, expansion of green spaces, or lack of traditional recycling services, these residents want complete solutions to the problems they've seen in their own backyards. Here's what our reporters found.
We begin in Oconee County, where residents told a group of our reporters about a disconnected sidewalk system that can be frustrating for those who can't get from one place to another. Reporters Emma Peterson, Elena Salazar, and Cindy Josephs tell us more about this problem and a potential solution.
They're putting in 4-foot sidewalks. And there's where I think there could be a huge step toward the future, because presumably all these sidewalks at some point are supposed to be connected. Right now it's kind of funny looking because all this frontage just has a sidewalk. It starts here and it ends here, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Hearing from Tom Pops, certain members of the community want more mobile sidewalks. Looking at Athens-Clarke County, they've already implemented something like this, the Firefly Trail.
I come over here with my friends, my roommates, do walks on here, and then I just got a puppy as well, so I take him on walks over here.
Firefly Trail began 8 years ago and has been a pivotal component to the community. John Cassane, Firefly Trail Development Coordinator, tells us how this came to be via the Georgia Railroad Athens Branch Rail Corridor.
So it's been going on for a long time. The first piece of the trail wasn't actually built until 2017. So, but then, and we've been making slow progress ever since. And we have now 12 miles of what will eventually be a 39-mile trail.
Firefly Trail offers accessibility to community members to get from one part of town to the next.
Determine where the trail would be most beneficial, or to place it. If you have a abandoned rail line, that's an obvious transportation corridor that's already there and has a history to utilize. But if not, then it's much more challenging.
But how, here in Oconee, at places like Veterans Park and Thomas Preserve Park, would they become interconnected like their neighboring county?
It's hard when you do that in what was formerly a rural community, because you're really starting from scratch. And when you go to lay a slab of concrete like this was, people are like, what in the world are they doing? But there is a bigger picture, and it's part of it, and you have to start somewhere.
Limitations like this push the community and local government to look at the project in a different way, but it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Cindy Pritchard tells us that a community-wide project like this is an extensive one. This isn't something that will happen overnight, and gaining support and shining a light on something members of the community feel strongly about doesn't hurt. Every great project has to begin somewhere, and this is where it starts for Oconee.
I mean, point being, multi-use paths, whether it's between point A and point B or within the facility, it serves more people.
Reporting for Grady News Source, this is Cindy Josephs, Emma Peterson, and Elena Salazar.
I'm here with Grady reporter Emma Peterson to learn more about the story behind the video. Emma, I noticed the solution for Oconee County actually fell outside of the county. Can you tell us how you found that?
Absolutely. So I actually live in Athens-Clarke right now, going to the University of Georgia, and I happen to use the Firefly Trail. I think it's incredibly accessible, especially for everybody that lives in the 3 counties that it stretches. And it's actually supposed to be a 39-mile trail, and right now it's 12 miles. Talking with the trail coordinator was just so wonderful because he explained how it came to be and how it's going to continue to grow. And I think that it's something that Oconee County can use to implement to increase their interconnectedness with their greenways.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe has more of our next story. Zoe?
Our next story takes place right here in Athens, where our reporters found that residents have found a way to get involved and beautify their own community.
Many residents in small-town Athens, Georgia have found that trash and waste have become a growing problem, littering in streets, parks, and neighborhoods and diminishing the beauty they once saw in their community. Litter not only pollutes the environment, but it also affects community health, property values, and the overall beauty of Athens. Here, the Adopt a Highway program, led by Keep Athens Clark County Beautiful, brings people together to clear litter and protect the local environment. Carlos Pinto, litter abatement specialist of Athens Clark County Unified Government, shares the environmental impacts of litter.
This year we got close to 1.85 tons, which is about 4,000 pounds of trash and recycling. But it impacts our, community in many ways in terms of like, who wants to go to a park or a creek and see trash? It's kind of like a depressing type of thing.
Pushing the community to be stewards of the environment, the Adopt a Highway program aims to be a resource for litter education and waste reduction. Executive Director of Keep Athens Clark County Beautiful describes long-term goals.
But of course, what everyone will understand is that we're trying to preserve our environment for the betterment of everyone who uses and lives in this community now, but also for future generations. And the only way in which we can really do that is if we respect and take care of it now.
Every bottle, can, and plastic on the side of the road tells a story of indifference. In Athens Clark County, community volunteers are helping rewrite that story one cleanup at a time.
University of Georgia student Gabby DePaz spends her Thursday afternoon making a difference, joining her sorority to pick up litter along the highway they adopted through the Adopt a Highway initiative.
My best friends actually live on Oak Street, so I drive by here a lot, and it's really sad to look at all the trash on the street. And we actually have a sustainability committee within our sorority that helps us just come together and clean everything, and it's awesome.
One limitation of Adopt a Highway is that many people in the community don't know it exists. Students like DePaz are helping combat that.
Athens is redefining sustainability through action, proving that small, consistent steps can make a noticeable impact.
I've been at University of Georgia for over 30 years, and I've seen that a lot of changes have occurred in the last 10, 15 years, both organizationally, but also most of it driven by students.
Contributing to the growth over the past decade, Athens has a center for hard-to-recycle materials that most of the United States does not have access to.
You can take paint, tires, mattresses, old cell phones, old television, that's what I'm trying to say, and things like that, where they can be properly disposed of.
With programs like Keep Athens Clark County Beautiful's Adopt a Highway initiative, Clark County is putting in the work to create a more sustainable and thriving environment.
Trash and waste is the greatest equalizer that we have. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, your religion, your gender. We all generate, it doesn't matter how rich you are or poor you are. We all generate it, and we all get to make a choice about what we're going to do with that.
For Grady News Source, this is Paige Collins, Joy Bell, Caroline Collins, and Kerwin Cannon.
Reporter Kerwin Cannon is here with me to tell me about her experience with Adopt a Highway in Athens. Oconee solution actually came from Athens. So now, taking a look at this county, I was wondering if you could tell me something that struck you while following around Adopt a Highway for a day.
Yeah, I think it was really encouraging seeing the amount of young people just rallying around to make the community look more beautiful. I feel like that's not something you see really often, young people really passionate about sustainability and making the place just look nice. So it was really encouraging, and I left feeling very hopeful for the future of Athens.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that insight. Zoe has more. Zoe?
Where Athens has a solution for trash, Madison County has a solution for recycling. After facing difficulties with the discontinued curbside recycling service, residents have had to lean on Keep Madison County Beautiful for their recycling needs. Let's take a look at that program and what it's doing for residents.
Bins like these disappeared from rural Madison County. Once home to a thriving county recycling program, the service was discontinued because it became too expensive to maintain. But one county organization is stepping up to fill the gap, even without curbside pickup. Keep Madison County Beautiful is a program dedicated to litter prevention, beautification, and community improvement. Funded by the local government, the program puts on recycling events throughout the year, and not just for tires.
We also have our shred event which is more than just a shred event. We have medicine take backs at the same time where they can bring recycling, all your books, all your anything that we do recycle, they can bring all that up there.
Residents use these events in place of curbside recycling pickup or having to drive to Athens Clarke County themselves. KMCB workers do the heavy lifting for them. Residents here in Madison County can drop their tires off here at this field land, and then Keep Madison County Beautiful officials will take the rims out of these tires and they will send them on these big trucks that you see behind me to a shredding facility in South Carolina. One county resident, Mary Anderson, says the tire amnesty event is even helping with improper disposal from years ago. In a rural place like Madison County, recycling has always been an issue.
We haven't been able to find a sanitation company to provide the nice little, plastic crates that you put things in.
Tires are bulky and non-degradable, so when they sit in the open for years, overcrowding landfill, they also leach toxic chemicals into the soil and groundwater. These recycled tires can instead be repurposed for better use. While these events only happen twice a year, their facility is open Wednesday through Friday every week, where residents can drop off recyclable items for proper disposal. KMCB officers are the ones collecting the old disposals and shipping to Athens Clarke County's recycling services. The warehouse has buckets for glass, plastic bottles, paper goods, cardboard, metal cans, and more. Instead of having all your recycled items sent to one service through curbside pickup, these events focus on specific materials with a clear end destination, educating their residents in the process. However, there is still no countywide recycling pickup system available for residents. UGA's Waste Reduction Coordinator, India Barfield, says it puts more stress on the residents in taking their items to the dumping grounds.
The limitations I would see as reliance on drop-off. So without recycling with our private haulers, we're relying on our citizens to take those materials to our transfer station in Madison County.
Despite the limitations, efforts like these prove that residents and leaders are taking steps toward a cleaner future. For example, Lapchinsky says they fill 4 to 5 truckloads full of tires during their month-long tire amnesty event. Keep Madison County Beautiful continues to teach their community how small, local solutions can spark change. That even includes inspiring the next generation through hosting a 3rd grade field trip in the spring.
And just teaching the kids on how to not do this thing, just, hey, it might work. Just put a little seed in their mind. It might help us later on, and how not to throw things out the window, put them in the proper places and stuff.
For Grady News Source, it's Elizabeth Isaacson, Kayla Jackson, Ashley Johnston, and Katie Hester.
Madison County reporter Ashley Johnson is sitting here with me now to tell me a bit about how her team discovered the issue with Madison's recycling. Recycling is something that a lot of people take for granted. How did you guys discover this problem within the county?
So when we went out to the county to find out what residents were having issues with, we found it super interesting they didn't have curbside trash pickup. A lot of the people that we spoke to found it very inconvenient, and for my team that was shocking because we were all used to having curbside pickup. So we wanted to highlight a solution that would make their sustainable practices much easier.
Absolutely. Zoe has more with our next county. Zoe?
Northeast Georgia has many waterways, and residents of Barrow County are fearful of contamination from stormwater runoff polluting this resource. But the threat doesn't just come from one place, so the response doesn't either. Our reporters show how the community uses a variety of solutions to combat this problem.
A day like this would not be Barrow County's typical concern, but rather a rainy one where they are seeing issues with stormwater runoff.
Stormwater runoff is created when an overflow of water occurs due to rain or snowmelt, and residents like Rachel Shook have a lot to say.
I know in my own backyard, whenever it storms, we have a pretty big, there's nothing back there. It's like an empty ditch, and then it is very full sometimes.
You typically find these issues with impervious surfaces, such as parking lots, sidewalks, or other non-porous surfaces that don't allow water to pass through. With the construction of new neighborhoods, there will be sandbags placed over the drains in order to prevent sediment from entering the streams and lakes. This is one of the solutions to non-point source pollution, which occurs when there's no way to pinpoint where the pollution is occurring from. Barrow County has a number of construction sites due to its goal of economic development.
I see that we have built a lot of neighborhoods real quickly recently.
With recent construction combined with stormwater runoff, homeowners are concerned. Joshua Grant, the Agriculture and Natural Resources Agent at UGA's Extension Office in Barrow County, helps residents with concerns regarding stormwater management.
That's probably the number one issue that I get
from homeowners that maybe are new, but more so folks that have been here for quite a while, and says, okay, that land used to just be pasture, now it's housing development with a lot of runoff and a lot of concrete.
One of the resources Grant offers is water sampling to test if Barrow County residents' water has been polluted due to runoff. According to the 2024 Water Quality Report, the system put in place is performing well and is meeting the standards for drinking water. Potential harmful contaminants like lead and copper are not currently posing a threat to the county's water. As the UGA Extension Agent for Barrow County, Grant recommends that his clients use his lab for testing. This allows him to provide a detailed list of available analyses or, when necessary, refer clients to other facilities for specialized water sample testing.
That I can direct clients to and say, hey, we can't test for the specifics that you're looking for, but if you go and contact these labs, they can help you out.
Barrow County has approved and created retention ponds and bioswales to help collect and hold stormwater runoff to slow down the constant flooding and erosion from polluting the water. Additionally, Barrow County has recently begun to bill residents to help dispose of runoff and sewage materials.
I have lived in my house for almost 18 years, and we started getting billed for it, I think, about 2 years ago. We don't have any issues in my house or in our neighborhood that I know of. So it was not surprising that we had to pay for where the water goes.
Barrow County resident Jody Patterson explains that every 6 months, a bill of $20 is sent to residents, but the lack of details on where this money goes leaves questions.
You know, it looks like we're billed based on the square footage of our house, which that's kind of interesting because most houses in our neighborhood are, around the same size, or, on our street, for example, are around the same size. So why would my house be getting more than a smaller house who has to pay for the same rain coming in?
Barrow County has taken steps to help control the issue, but residents like Shook and Patterson feel there's still more work to be done to ensure its stormwater solutions don't run dry. Reporting for Groundwork, Stories of Sustainability in Northeast Georgia, this is Georgia Hartley,
McKenna Edwards,
Izzy Finnerty, and Yesenia Hernandez.
Now I'm with reporter Georgia Hartley to dig deeper into the story. It seems to me like this is a pretty common complaint you guys experience in the county. Can you tell me a bit about what you experienced out in the field?
Yeah. When we were out in Barrow County, we spoke with a lot of residents who were sharing complaints about this groundwater contamination in the stormwater runoff, and expressing their frustrations. I was out filming one day in the rain, and I could see that there was a lot of stormwater runoff and things were flooding, and a guy pulled up behind me and asked what I was doing, and I told him about this story that we've worked on, and he was so passionate and shared with me that he had experience with all of these things that we've been talking about. We also saw a lot of stuff on social media, a lot of Facebook groups, Barrow County Facebook groups, where residents were complaining about the groundwater contamination and the runoff and the new construction and everything. So I hope that these solutions that Barrow County has begun to implement will provide a little bit of relief for residents in the future.
Thanks, Georgia. Zoe has more on our final solution story.
Speaking of pollution, one organization in Jackson County has identified potential contamination in an unusual place, prompting an innovative response. Our reporters went to Jackson County Animal Shelter. Let's take a look.
In Jackson County, contamination isn't just an environmental issue. It's a growing public and pet health concern. From runoff to industrial residues, traces of hazardous substances can travel far beyond work sites and homes, sometimes ending up in the most unexpected places. And for one small animal shelter in Jackson, the risk isn't just theoretical.
It keeps from people going to the back for their safety and my animal safety. And plus, it keeps diseases down. People can walk in from their household, never know it, but parvo's in the ground, gets on their feet, and we let them walk back to the back. It can contaminate my whole shelter and cause all my animals to get sick.
But instead of just warning people at the door, this shelter is fighting contamination with a surprising tool: touchscreen technology.
And plus, it's easier they can go in here and bond with it by themselves. You ain't got other animals barking and howling and stuff like that. You can actually get one-on-one time in the bonding rooms. So that's one reason we've done that, and it works great.
People used to be able to walk straight into the back of the shelter to meet the animals, but after harmful chemicals and contaminants were tracked in, Richards knew he had to make a change to protect the animals and keep the shelter safe.
You know, I love my job. I love this community. I was born and raised here. There's a lot of people I still know. There's a lot of new people I don't know. But, you know, I love my staff. My staff is very, very great to me. You know, I'm on as good as they are. And that way, I enjoy saving animals. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing this job.
By replacing this meeting process with interactive screens, they've created a cleaner, safer process, one that helps stop the spread of contaminants before they ever make it inside. Parvovirus is a serious disease that weakens a dog's immune system and can be life-threatening. It spreads very easily and can be carried on almost anything, even the grass and dirt stuck in your shoes. Because it's so contagious, it can quickly infect dogs if proper precautions aren't taken.
Until they are fully protected with their vaccines, they are at risk of contracting parvo anytime they set foot on the ground. So dirt or grass or soil could be harboring parvovirus.
Once parvo potentially enters the shelter, it is almost impossible to stop it from contaminating toys, leashes, kennels, and other things, putting other dogs at risk until they are vaccinated.
The virus will reside on toys or leashes or even our staff members' hands and feet and clothing, for example. It can be on surfaces, so like intake rooms, scales, animal control trucks. Essentially, that virus can be infectious, and it's just waiting on the surface to come in contact with a puppy or a dog that's not been vaccinated. So it's pretty easy to spread it.
It's important to keep his animals and staff safe, which is why Richard saw the solution as a no-brainer. After selecting animals of interest via the screen, potential adopters speak to shelter staff at the front desk in order to take the next steps. Staff will bring the visitor and animal of the interest into what the shelter calls a bonding room. This space allows for the individual relationship between human and furry companion to begin. Not only is contamination minimized, but visitors can get to know their pet in a quiet, calm setting.
Miss Jordan, my administrative assistant, sits up front. We have walkie-talkies to the staff in the back, and she calls them back there and lets them know what animal that needs to be come to the bonding room. And we ask you to step in, and we let you bond with it. Our main concern is we want to be a perfect fit for you and your family here.
If the animal is the right match, adopters can fill out the paperwork right in the bonding room. The Jackson County Animal Shelter, with the help of new technology, facilitates smooth, clean, and safe adoptions. While Jackson County continues to grow, the use of hazardous substances in the county will too. And this is just one way a local office has dealt with the rising issue.
I have Jackson County reporter Peyton Monroe here to discuss more about the shelter. This was a really unique story. I was wondering myself while watching if the touchscreen has any impact on adoption rates.
I think it has a really positive impact on adoption rates. We actually, when we went to the shelter the very first time, there was a whole wall. It was full of about 20 to 30 cats. And when we went back about 3 days later for the second time, all the cats had been adopted. Some rescue shelter had come and picked them up. So I do think it's definitely a new take on the way that, animals are being adopted, but I think it's had a real overall positive impact on the community.
Thanks for that insight, Peyton. Now I'm going to go join Zoe outside.
Covering these 5 counties has shown that residents of Northeast Georgia care about sustainable solutions and that these solutions do exist, even at a small scale.
Addressing problems with our environment starts on the ground.
Covering these 5 counties has represented local efforts to make change and keep these areas healthy, connected, clean, and beautiful.
I'm Jill Ward.
And I'm Zoe Streeter. Thanks for tuning in.